Morning guys, Dave Canterbury at the Pathfinder School out here with another video in our Bulletproof Bushcraft series, talking about stuff for the common man. What I want to talk to you about today was common man long guns that I believe fit the bulletproof category, which means they are inexpensive and indestructible in my opinion. To me, H&R is the way to go. H&R LLC has been in business since 1871. We've been making guns for a long time. They're now owned by Remington. Marlin is also owned by Remington and part of that company, as well as NEF. Any of these guns that you can find are going to be fairly cheap. They're all going to last forever pretty much. You're not going to destroy them, and they're all going to be good and versatile. We've talked about the versatility of the 12 gauge shotgun in many of my 21st century long hunter videos. And again, in my opinion, the most versatile gun in the world. I'm going to show you a few more things about this gun today that make it even more versatile. We're going to talk about some other H&R firearms as well. So stay with me, and I'll be right here. Okay, so this is the shotgun that I've used in a lot of videos. It's just a H&R 12 gauge partner model modified choke, and that's what you want. You want the modified choke. That'll give you the most versatility of ammunition you can shoot. And this is a smooth bore shotgun. A smooth bore you're going to shoot rifled slugs out of if you're going to buy slugs for it. A rifled barrel you're going to shoot non-rifled slugs because the rifling is in the barrel. A rifled slug is set up so that it has rifling in the round to make it spin when it goes down the barrel for good trajectory. So, break open, single action, very simple. The Choate survival stock on it by Choate Machine and Tool. It has a slogan sling on it that's made out of rubber as well. All this stuff is indestructible. The beauty of this stock system is that it's hollow, and I've showed that in other videos, so you have space in here in the butt that you can get to very easily just by unscrewing the bottom. It's got a thumb screw on there, and you can open that up and put whatever you want inside there, survival items, cleaning items, maintenance, things like that if you want to. And it also has the same screw on the bottom of the fore end, which makes it very easy to get off. So that makes you be able to, that allows you to be able to maintain this weapon very easily, because instead of having to have tools to get this stuff off, you can now just pop it off. And it also has cavities for storing survival items and whatnot inside of it. But that gives you the ability now to very easily take that barrel and pop it right off. Now, again, if you call H&R and you ask them about barrels or interchanging barrels, they're going to tell you if you want to buy another barrel for your gun that you should send it to them to be fitted. In which case you're going to have to send them your lower receiver, which means there's going to be paperwork. If you have a gun like this that you've bought privately, you don't want to do that. Any other barrel that's an H&R barrel, shotgun barrel, will fit this most likely. And you can tell very easily just by trying to match them up. The barrel that I have in this tube is a rifled 12 gauge barrel, like a slug barrel. And this one is rifled for shooting heavy deer ammunition and hunting ammunition. It has front and rear sights on it with adjustable windage and elevation. And as you can see, it locks perfectly onto that frame. So again, this came off of an H&R. This is another H&R shotgun barrel, and it fits perfectly on this H&R frame. That makes it very versatile, because now I can just lock this on there, just like this, put that screw back in it, and I have a slug gun. Now, you cannot put a rifled barrel on this frame for a heavy caliber rifle like a 308 from a handy rifle. It's a different type of frame. This is an SB1 frame. A handy rifle has an SB2 frame. We'll talk about that in a minute. But it's a heavier frame for the back pressure of a high caliber rifle round. So you're not going to be able to do this with rifles, but you can swap shotgun barrels. I can put a 20 gauge barrel on this, a 410 barrel, a rifled slug barrel. Things like that are very easy to interchange as long as you have the same, as long as you have an H&R and not an NEF. Those will be interchangeable between each other as well, but you can't interchange it between each other. This one happens to be an H&R, so I have to use H&R parts for it. Now, I bought this 12 gauge, the second 12 gauge, the rifled slug barrel, for $125 at a gun show, and it looked like it was brand new. So basically, I got a whole gun for the price I'd have to pay for a barrel anyway. And I can just take those parts off, store that wherever I want to, and I have the ability at that point to be able to use this as two guns just by carrying the spare barrel or the shorter barrel in my backpack. And then I have a rifle barrel which will allow me to shoot a lot further and more accurate for big game if I want to. So I want to talk to you guys about that first. And I just used an old fishing pole case here that I got somewhere on sale for a barrel sleeve. This is actually too long for this barrel, but it's pretty good for the other barrel. Alright, so that's one way that you can make this 12 gauge more versatile on top of everything it will already do that we've talked about, you know, with the gun adapters and the black powder and all the things that we've talked about in other videos. Okay, this one is an H&R handy rifle, and this one is chambered in .243. It's got a scope on it for hunting longer distance like coyotes and things like that, and a bipod system. I bought this gun, as you see it right now, for $199 at a pawn shop. $199, okay? So you can find these H&R guns very, very commonly man priced. Now, you could get other barrels for this on the SB1 frame. They chamber these barrels in everything from 22 to 223, 243, 308, 22, 250. You can get those barrels and they'll all swap onto this SB1 frame as long as they are H&R barrels. You'll have to check it to make sure, but for the most part they will swap in and out. Okay, here's another H&R gem, okay? 150 bucks, black powder, no paperwork. I bought this straight from a gun shop, used, for 150 bucks. This is a 45 caliber muzzle loader, okay? It's an inline muzzle loader. It takes a number 11 cap, and it's a 45 caliber rifle muzzle loader with front and rear sights. Good to go. Nothing wrong with that gun for black powder whatsoever. It's got a rifle 45 caliber barrel, expandable ramrod, and like I said, it takes a number 11 priming cap. Now, here is another place to have a short conversation about black powder, and we'll demo black powder in another video as far as the cap lock type guns or the primer guns versus the flintlocks. We've talked about flintlocks in a lot of videos. My buddy Steve Davis did an extensive video on flintlocks, and we'll do another one on the cap lock versions of these guns and the inline versions of these guns. But the thing with the number 11 priming cap in comparison to the 209 shotgun primer, again, goes back to availability. And it's a very important thing to understand that, you know, right now things are getting scarce. Ammunition is getting scarce. Those number 11 priming caps are everywhere, and they're cheap. They're like $4.99 100 off Sportsman's Warehouse. As long as you've got a mold for this gun, and you can find lead, wheel weights, or whatever the case may be, you can make all the ammunition you need for this rifle, and black powder is still available where a lot of modern powders are getting hard to find. And we'll have that discussion here in just a minute. But I wanted you to understand this is another gun by H&R. Again, bulletproof design, tried and true over time. This one is a muzzle loader. Again, $150, so under $200 mark. I'd say that's a good common man long gun for the price. And I don't think you'll find any H&R gun that you'll have to spend over $200 on unless you're not getting a good price on it. Okay guys, real quick discussion about a couple things on this video. First of all, I am a huge Second Amendment advocate. I believe that our gun rights are very, very important. Right now, because of the way things are and because of changes in the law or proposed changes in the law, things are getting very hard to come by. And it has reinforced over the last several weeks exactly what I've been talking about for the last 3 to 5 years on videos with the 21st Century Long Hunter and the black powder use in the 12 gauge, gun adapters for the 12 gauge, multiple caliber versatility, things like that. I was at a gun show last weekend, and 22 caliber ammunition, if you could find it, it was $85 for 500, which is outrageous. Everything else that would shoot out of anything semi-automatic was almost impossible to find. 12 gauge was everywhere. Black powder, still available. Number 11 priming caps, still available. I went to a Meijer store in a pretty good sized town between here and Indianapolis, and I stopped in there to get some stuff with Iris, and I walked back to the sporting goods section, and I looked at their ammunition case. There were 4 pounds of Pyrodex. I can use that in my 12 gauge if I reload my own shells. And there were about 100 to 200 boxes of 12 gauge in everything from number 2 to number 9 shot, and nothing else. I think there was 1 or 2 boxes of 270 Winchester, not one 22, not one 9mm, not one 223, nothing. Everything was gone. And I don't think they're going to be restocked anytime soon because every store I've been in is in the same boat. But the one thing that's a common denominator is everywhere I go, there's still availability of 12 gauge ammunition. And that's why I say 12 gauge is the #1 survival caliber to have. It's the #1 survival gun to have, and it's the only gun you'll ever need. If you want to vary that up a little bit with things like muzzle loaders in rifle calibers or rifle adapters and things like that, hey, I'm all about that. I would suggest very highly that you get some black powder guns that are black powder specific. I just bought a double barrel Petrozzoli 12 gauge cap lock from a gun show this last weekend. Again, black powder doesn't require any paperwork in the United States, so it's a good gun that you can have, that you can stash away and understand that you're going to have it. When time comes and you need it, you will have it to hunt with, no problem. Black powder still available, priming cap still available. I've got this 12 gauge, it's good to go. I don't have to worry about trying to find ammunition. I can use anything out of that thing for shot. We've talked about that in a lot of videos in the past. Okay guys, well that's enough of my rambling for now. I'm Dave Canterbury at the Pathfinder School. I appreciate you joining for this video. I thank you for everything you do for me, for my school, for my family, for my sponsors and my friends. And I'll be back with another video as soon as I can. Thanks guys.